truly feel that way. That's scary as hell.
Just imagine, just imagine
that's scary as hell.
Imagine you 12 years old and you live on 130th from Buckeye and your mom sends you to the gas station and get something. You don't know none of these guys. Y'all just moved over there. You're not in the gangs at all. And you got to walk through this on a daily basis. You start to think about survival and self-preservation. What
How old
can I
are
do
you?
to save myself? I'm 34 years old.
Was it like that when you was growing up?
Not to the magnitude of I was afraid I wasn't gonna make it home. Because I grew up in the 90s. We'd fight and everybody go home at the end of the day. We weren't shooting and killing each other. That happened.
That's what I'm just trying to figure what happened. When did it all flip over? When did we get to this point?
Access to firearms. I don't know exactly what moment it was in which it shifted to where now everyone had access to guns. And most certainly during that period of time, we didn't have no Glock 19s with a 30 clip and you got beans and scopes. I'm talking about little kids have access to this.
Right. The clips are longer than their guns, man.
Where are they getting this from?
So my point is this also then. You made a comment that you said.
Yes,
I go with this all the time.
Yes, sir.
You said you from the 90s and y'all fought, right?
Yes, sir.
So, I'm 80s and all that, so we fought.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the kids that got so damn soft that they don't want to fight. And today's conversation is about something real, not theoretical. Safety, power, and responsibility. In a city like Cleveland, where we spend lots of our time talking about government, what police should do, what the system should fix, but on the ground, there's organizations like New Era Cleveland, stepping into the neighborhood, intervening in conflicts, showing presence, and in many cases, and working with organizations and institutions in our community that most organizations or big government isn't working with at this time. But at the same time, there's a real question. What impact is actually being made? What does that kind of presence mean to our community? And beyond all of that, what responsibility do we as a community have of our own in order to be able to prepare ourselves to be ready to be able to help and do more in our community for ourselves? We depend on a lot of government to help us. We always asking what is the next thing, who's going to be there to save us, when we know that a lot of this is on us and what we're going to do as a community to make that work better. So today's guest on my show is a gentleman who's been in the streets and he's been working to try to bring presence in our community, as well as a little bit old school, grassroots, in your face type of neighborhood support. And what I mean by that, he is really one of these guys, if you think about the Panthers and that kind of thing, the kind of approach that they took in our community, this gentleman has been doing a lot of that for us these days. And his name is Chairman Fahiem, and he is the chairman of New Era Cleveland, which is an organization here in Cleveland that's been doing that kind of work. And he's going to sit back today and we're going to have a conversation all about safety, community, power, and responsibility. So before we get started, I want to welcome you to our show.
Thank you, good brother. I am honored to be a guest on your platform. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, man. I've been watching you do work in the community for a while right now, man. And I think you're doing some really good work with you and your people. Sometimes I think people are a little misunderstood in some of their things, so we're going to have a conversation to talk a little bit about that and how we all can work together and where we differ. So that's what we're going to find out today. So in that one of the first questions I want to ask you is, I want you to tell the guests what is New Era Cleveland and how you define what that organization does.
Yes, sir. So we are a community-based organization. We're a part of a national chapters as well. So we have chapters in Philadelphia and Dallas and Detroit and Baltimore, all over the country. And so just a network of community organizers essentially is what we are. We travel all over the country just finding out what different programs people are to address violent crime or food disparities or whatever the case may be. What are they doing in their respective cities, and then bringing that back here to Cleveland, as well as sharing what we do here that works with our network as well.
So you saying New Era is a national, or is
Yes, sir. It's a national organization.
Oh, so there's
Founded
New Eras
in Detroit. Yes,
okay,
sir.
and there's New Eras in other cities and around the state. Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
How many active members?
In our Cleveland chapter, we're around 17 active members. We have many volunteers and other partners we collaborate with. And in our national chapter, I'm not exactly sure, but there are chapters all over the country.
Okay. What neighborhood mainly are you guys working out of?
The southeast side of Cleveland, we have a heavy presence on the southeast side. The neighborhood specifically, Buckeye Woodhill neighborhood, is where we have really dug in our roots right there. We have a community center on 117th and Buckeye that we opened up last April. And so we're getting ready to celebrate the 1 year anniversary at
Okay.
Community Center.
Excellent, excellent. And let me ask you, when we talk about that, because we got a whole lot of stuff,
Yes,
so
sir.
we're gonna run through this. It's not like I'm just gonna be
Yes,
and
sir.
you push back, and we gonna
Yes,
have a
sir.
conversation.
Yes,
But
sir.
I do
Yes,
got some questions. I want to get some of the basic ones out so people know who you are,
Yeah.
and then we can really
Yes,
get
sir.
into some of the stuff we want to talk about.
Yes, sir.
When we talk about the incidents in your community, is it about responding to incidents or preventing them for
Our
you guys?
intentions are always prevention and intervention when it's allowed it, right? But because again we are a community-based organization, the vast majority of us are volunteering, and so capacity-wise, we aren't always in position to prevent things from happening in the neighborhood. So we do have some responses to situations, but then with those responses, we coordinate a strategy to then prevent that from happening again.
Okay.
And so we don't want to run around chasing no ambulances. We're not showing up to continue to do balloons after kids get killed. We don't want to get a habit. We want to break those cycles.
How many direct interventions you guys think you've been into since you've been started?
This is November 16th will be our 10-year anniversary. We started in 26, countless incidences we have intervened in. It's not really there is a specific program for each situation in which we intervene. I could just be out and about in community and something to happen.
Say something
Again,
just
Southeast
jump
side
on.
of Cleveland. I'm
Right.
minding my business. I'm sweeping the sidewalk and people down the street are arguing. And so that's an opportunity for me to then be the voice of reason. Hey, listen, y'all, relax. We're not doing this right now. There's kids out here, that type of situation. I was headed to the juvenile detention center back in October, and on my route there, I see a man crash his car into the back of his lady's car, and I'm like, hold on. I'm telling my queen, I'm like, you see that? Like, what happened? I'm like, he just rammed his car into her. So I try to catch up. I follow them. I try to catch up to the vehicle, and he notices I'm following them, so he breaks off. So I pull up next to the girl, and I'm like, are you okay? She crying. We just got into it and this and that. I'm just like, okay, do you need help? What can we do? What type of support can we provide you right now? She's like, I'm okay. I don't need anything. And so then I see him drive down the side street. So I follow him. Follow him all the way to 4th District Police Station. He go to the police station to attempt to file a report about the incident, but it also provided me with opportunity to talk to him. So when he got out the car after he talked to police, I'm like, bro, what's going on? He's, man, I don't know. We just got into it. I'm like, bro, I see you crash your car into her car. I saw that part. What are you thinking right now? Where are you at in your headspace? And relationship stuff, he crashed out. And so what happened was I was able to provide some form of care in that moment. I talked him through that. Stuff happened, relationships come and go. Don't throw your life away over this. And that was a situation that could have escalated. She could have hit another car, crashed, anything could happen. And so it's about being present in the community.
Do you track these interventions in a formal way?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me.
So we document incident reports, but then also visually, I capture a lot of content in these situations. And they're really moments of learning, moments of us to reflect back on like, how could I have handled this situation differently? But then also the success stories that we're able to capture from these. So I got the Meta Ray band, so it's really low key when I'm documenting these situations happening in real time. And we're real big on capturing a lot of the incidences that happen.
If some of your critics, they will say still hasn't happened and need to improve, what would you think that would be?
I agree. And I just find it funny that the onus of changing the circumstances are on the people that are most impacted and don't have the resources to do. Meanwhile, the institutions and systems that have all of the resources can't even move the needle. And it's the people like me that it gets pushed on, in which, to be honest, I'm okay with organizations like ours bearing the weight of trying to make this drastic change in these environments. And yeah, to those people, I would say that I'm seeing change happen in real time every day in my neighborhood.
So we're going to talk about presence, power, and perception.
Yes, sir.
Armed optics. Yeah, that's your favorite part right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It
When
is.
people see new era in the community, they don't just see engagement, they see presence. Vest, firearms, a visible posture, sending a message. For some, it's protection, but others consider that may raise some concerns about it when they see that. Let's talk a little bit about that. So the question I got is, why is visible armed presence part of your model?
For several reasons. Number one, it's our constitutional right to bear arms, right? And so there's something that is so powerful for our people from an optics perspective to see Black men taking a positive protective posture in our communities when it comes to addressing crime, deterring crime, and just standing on business as a collective. And I look at the firearm in some occasions like the same way some people would look at a suit and tie, right? That means you coming to handle business. You dress the part. And people in the community respect that, not from even an authoritative perspective, but if I'm outside and I'm taking a protective stance and I got my pants hanging below my waist, no vest, gun hanging off my waistline, it's not holstered, it's just not responsible. And
But
so
that's your constitution.
it's
do that.
It is,
if
but
you
it's
wanna.
not responsible. We want to model responsibility. We want to model safe firearm etiquette. And in those moments, we're also able to provide some education to the young guys that I'm seeing. Like you got a Glock in your pocket, get you a holster, brother. You can make it happen. Just it's not what you do, but it's how you do it.
So you run up on a young brother, you know he's not 21, he got a gun. What you do?
It provides the opportunity for us to have a real conversation, and I also provide an outlet. I need that from you, bro. And in some situations, I've had moms call me, kids in my program. I come home 2:00 in the morning. He got a gun on the nightstand. Get that. I need that from you. I'm not gonna let you throw your life away. And so, if the opportunity provides for me to have that opportunity to take that firearm, I'm gonna do that. And in some situations we have, but other situations I provide education because you living in an environment in which your peers is getting gunned down, and you got into situations, so you may need that for protection. So I'm not going to leave these young guys defenseless, but then I also provide a different perspective to how you move, right? And the fact that you need to carry that with you everywhere you go. What energy are you putting out into the universe? You are harming people.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, I hear you, but hell, man, and let me ask you. I'm going to ask you.
We got a real conversation.
Because I'm going to
please.
just ask you, like,
Yes, sir.
are we at a time where these brothers got to be really carrying guns?
Yes.
You really believe
Yes,
it?
sir. Yes, sir.
Really?
What I've seen, Abriana Jackson, 14-year-old girl, straight A student, at home in her bed, minding her business, house shot up with bullets. Hit that baby in the head and killed her in her bed. Her mother and her 11-year-old sister right next to her. 11-year-old sister sitting between mom's legs, getting her hair braided. And so the nature of what we're seeing is that demonic. They killed a young boy in the gas station on 152nd. They shot him 40 times, 7 people. Cornered him in the gas station and took his life in the most horrific way. And so this is being force fed to us on a daily basis in the music. Kids, every song they hear, they listening to is about walking somebody down and being proud. And it's an honor, it's a privilege, it's a badge of honor to take a life. And so this is being force fed to them. And I picked up some kids last Friday. We had a teen night. And to know that kids are afraid to even move around their own neighborhood. Mom trying to figure out why her son not coming home, but he done went and shot somewhere else up and they know where he live at. So he's not going home to keep mom and little brother protected. But he can't tell mom that, right? And so it's about putting myself in position to then to help mom develop a certain level of understanding. Your son is active right now. So he not coming home because he want to keep y'all safe.
That's really fucked up. And I'm just like, and the reason why I'm saying it just like that is that I guess what I'm trying to get to is he didn't have to go do that. You know what I mean? And so when I asked the question, do they have to carry guns? Is the city of Cleveland, because that's what we're talking about, is the city of Cleveland, East Side, and those areas done became so unsafe that you believe that young men need to arm themselves in order to live in their community?
I believe that young men that are involved in gang culture.
No. I'm not going to say the gang culture because that's an option. That's like me saying, you can say I want to be involved in gang culture or I want to go to work every day. One, you got to make a decision. So if you make the decision to say I want to be in gang, because it's a decision, and I'm not knocking the guys who said that's what y'all going to, it's a decision that you made. If you make that decision, yes, you may need to arm yourself. But my question is, do you believe the city of Cleveland is so dangerous that these young brothers, if you're not involved in gang culture, you still need to have your weapon?
Yes, sir, I do.
Wow.
You live in Outwave and you're not involved in any gangs. And you want to go to school at East Tech and you got rival gang members. Look what's happening now. They merging Collinwood and Glenville together. And so we got kids that's from different neighborhoods, right? Just out of this is where your grandma live or where your mom from, but you get associated with that neighborhood. So you from there whether you in the streets or not. And so we have kids now to protect themselves. I got to. Even if I'm not in the streets, I want to make it home. I don't want to be on a remembrance page.
But what would stop them from making it home? And listen, we just having a conversation because my point is, they just fucking with them on their way home?
Something as simple as, y'all know him over there? I don't know him.
Really? Wow.
Something as simple as that. Or he
Wow.
looked at me too. I think he from such and such. Or
Wow.
I think that's such and such people. Something as simple as that.
It gets done.
And they don't think broad daylight. It don't matter.
Don't matter.
I'm seeing it in real
I
time.
hate to hear that, man. That's really heartbreaking to
Yes, sir.
hear that you feel that way.
Yes, sir.
The reason why I'm saying that is I know for a fact you're just not making it up because I
sir.
know you in the streets and
Yes,
just what
sir.
you're doing.
Yes,
So
sir.
if you truly
sir.
feel that way, that's
sir.
scary as hell.
Just imagine. Just
Imagine
you.
that's scary as hell.
Imagine you 12 years old and you live on 130th from Buckeye and your mom sends you to the gas station and get something to drink. You don't know none of these guys. Y'all just moved over there. You're not in the gangs at all. And you got to walk through this on a daily basis. You start to think about survival and self-preservation. What
How
can
old
I
are
do
you?
to save myself? I'm 34 years old.
Was it like that when you was growing up?
Not to the magnitude of I was afraid I wasn't gonna make it home. I grew up in the 90s. We'd fight and everybody go home at the end of the
Right.
day. We weren't shooting and killing each other. That happened.
So I'm just trying to figure
into my teen-
what happened. When did it all flip over? When did we get to this point?
Access to firearms. I don't know exactly what moment it was in which it shifted to where now everyone had access to guns. And most certainly during that period of time, we didn't have no Glock 19s with a 30 clip. You got beans and scopes. I'm talking about little kids,
Little kids, right.
have access to that.
Right. The clips are longer than their guns, man.
Where are they getting this from?
My point is this also. You made a comment that you said.
Yes, sir.
I go with this all the time.
Yes, sir.
You said you from the 90s and y'all
Yes,
fought,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm 80s and
Yes,
all
sir.
that, so we fought.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the kids that got so damn soft that they don't want to fight,
Yes, sir.
and instead of getting embarrassed because they lost
Yeah.
the fight, because we lose fights.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what?
Yes, sir.
In our day, you could go to school after you lost a fight.
And still be
depends.
respected.
It'd be respected. It was just how you lost.
Come
Now,
on.
if you got chased home and
Come
lost,
on.
you're gonna have
Come
to
on.
feel it.
Come
But
on.
if you
Come on.
went head up
Come on.
and you got your butt
Come
beat, you
on.
got your butt beat.
Yeah.
But it seems like we got to a point where these guys don't want to get touched. They
Yes,
don't
sir.
want to get hurt. They don't want to get embarrassed. And the ultimate thing for them to do is pull out a gun.
Yeah, yes, sir. Because I pull out this gun, when I take your life, and even if I spend the rest of my life in jail, in some form, I am immortalized forever. It's gonna always
Jeez.
be free such and such. It's gonna always be that hashtag, even if it's just for a little bit of attention for a small moment. Again, we think about the development of the adolescent brain. They're not comprehending consequences from a comprehensive standpoint. They don't understand those consequences until they 15 years into a 30-year or 50-year bit. Now the gears are turning with why this happened. Why did I do that? Why I take his life? I didn't even know this kid. I stopped 2 kids at our program about to fight on Friday because he said he looked at me too long. But did you know that this kid got cognitive delays? It wasn't intentional. He wasn't doing it as a form of disrespect. And so it's about providing perspective, because now you can think about that the next time it happened. Man, he might be autistic. Guess what though? But he dressed the part, black pants, ski mask on, so you can't tell the difference.
All right, we're going to get back on program. This is going to be a long one. Jesus. Your guys what kind of training do your members go through? Because you are going down there, y'all are carrying weapons and that kind of stuff. That's a concern for people.
Absolutely.
What kind of training do you have to go through?
And so we have.
Hold on, let me ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Is it longer than you have to go through for the ICE training? Shit. ICE, you can get an ICE training and walk around with the vest and everything just like you want to do.
Yes, sir.
And you can do that in, what is it, Latif, 6 weeks, 8 weeks? I think we said 6 to 8 weeks. You can be an ICE agent. No? So what's your training like?
And so we have a very comprehensive training regimen. My queen, our president, Austria, she spent 13 years in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
She also has her master's degree working on her doctorates in social work, macro level social work. And so we implement social emotional learning into our trainings, de-escalation and communication into our trainings. In 10 years, we've never had incident in which we had to draw firearms or almost attempt to draw firearms on anybody. And we've been in the middle of a lot, car meetups, block parties, and it's maybe 4 of us and it's hundreds of people, but built off of respect and representation. People instantly like, all right, y'all here, we good. I can relax. I was wondering when y'all was gonna come out here. So building up that level of recognition in the community, that's our number one asset, is relationships.
So who set the standards for how the team operates?
I would say myself and then President Austria are in regards to our hierarchy, our structure, our rules, our bylaws, and what that looks like on our day-to-day operations, how we show up in the community, why we show up in the community. We facilitate what that looks like.
Have you ever had a situation where you showing up and your presence might have escalated situation where people see you? Oh my, and You feel like, you know what, it's better we leave
We
because
yeah.
of whatever. It,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, I understood.
Maybe making people just uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, yeah. I'm trying to think back onto a moment in which we showed up and people was like, "Oh no, they here." Honestly, the only people that may feel some type of discomfort when we do show up may be law enforcement officers.
That was gonna be my next question.
Yeah,
But before we get there, how about the drug dealers who see you?
I would say occasionally we may have one that gets a little unsettled and wants to test us. And when I say test us, I mean in regards of attempt to make a transaction in front of us.
Just blatantly, just flat out disrespect.
Just
Because
flat
you're
disrespect
never
us.
there to tell them, hey, move, you shouldn't be doing blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. You doing what you do.
Yeah.
You see us,
Yes,
respect us, we
respect
gonna
us.
respect. You ain't gonna do this in my face,
Come
but
on
if
now.
you gonna do it in my face,
Come on, I gotta say something
I
to you.
gotta say
bro,
something to you.
because
Because you
that's-
want me, matter of fact, you want
You
me to
want me
say
to.
something to you.
you want to see if I'm gonna do it. And so again, my approach is a little different when it comes to that too, because when I see it, I'm not running up, hey bro, you can't no, hey, listen, bro. You see what we out here doing, right? Somebody got killed over here. There's babies out here, or women scared to come to this guy. Come on, bro. We can't, man. We killing each other and what we selling to our people, bro. So I engage in a conversation in which I try to help them understand like why the change has to occur right now.
So the question about law enforcement, man, do you coordinate with law enforcement?
No,
Do you
sir.
work with, you say no, sir.
No, sir.
That's a no, sir.
No, sir.
So why don't you coordinate with law enforcement?
Just being completely transparent, the history of policing in Cleveland, Ohio specifically is atrocious.
Okay.
Currently under federal monitoring right now, 2 consent decrees, a long, extensive history of police misconduct and abuse, the same city of 137 shots, Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams, Tamir Rice, all of these situations. And so we do not coordinate any type of operations or anything like that with law enforcement officers. And also based on our personal experiences with providing support, crisis care to people in community, we have always been let down consistently when it comes to trying to get law enforcement officers involved in situations in which something they may not seem as that serious. A young girl being sex trafficked and y'all know what house she at. We got people dying out here. That's our number one priority. So that doesn't get adequate attention. And so that's where some of our frustration comes from as well, where it's at the point now where we're not even calling the police. We'll take care of it.
So let me ask you then, in that, I can understand why you feel that way. And you mentioned the consent decree and you
Yes, sir.
mentioned the issue 24,
Yes, sir.
that thing that we're doing there. It's been over 10 years with this consent decree, and it's been a few years now with issue 24. You don't believe that with any of that stuff over the years that nothing's changed to make things better? Because that's what they're supposed to be there for,
Yes,
right?
sir.
The consent
Yes, sir.
decree was
Yes, sir.
supposed to come into place
Yes,
to
sir.
help weed out all
Yes.
the BS
Yeah.
that was going on at the and to that point, I was just meeting with a police officer today who kind of believed, and his point to me was, he said, this is the best time for a black man to become a police officer in Cleveland because of all the
culture shift.
racists and the culture's truth. The racist cops are now gone. They obviously they need cops, right?
Yeah.
This would be the best time. So with that switch, you don't think at some point you might revisit the thought? Maybe let me put it that way.
I'll say it's unknown
Yeah,
right now.
that's fair.
But I will say from what I've seen in regards to law enforcement officers, the day-to-day patrol officers, and even the new commander that's in the 4th District right now, we have a great rapport. We know each other. We communicate. Hey, how you doing today? It's a community meeting going on. And so he has extended brotherhood to me, or open line of communication. If there is something going on and we can support y'all, please let me know. This is a brand new experience for me. I've never had that opportunity at all. And so based on my experiences, I've already developed that. I can't even call y'all.
Got that wall up.
Yes,
So y'all gonna have to break that down. It ain't up for me to. It's up for
Yes,
you
sir.
guys to do.
Yes,
And
sir.
I totally understand that. But you can understand why they might look at you being a vigilante at that, right? A little bit because
My thing is there's always this outpour for a community to get involved, do something, say something. But then when somebody start doing something and the needle start moving and don't look the way that people want it to, or they can't control it, then it becomes problematic. And in full transparency, like I have educated myself on how these systems, how this ecosystem thrives off of poverty and crime. It is necessary. Without it, it would completely this entire infrastructure.
I totally agree with you.
Yes, sir.
I totally agree. And people spent a lot of money to keep it that way. You could just look at the community and tell.
Yes, sir.
And I'm
Yes, sir.
100%.
Which is why someone like me would then, and I don't mean me specifically, but people like me are problematic.
How do you keep your ego in these situations intact when you go up and you get in this, you see somebody and you really try, because that's the biggest problem with the
Yes, sir.
cops is the
Yes,
same
sir.
thing, is
Yeah.
sometimes they take things way over the top where they kind of should keep their ego intact. How do you train your folks, and how do
Yeah.
you go about trying to make sure we keep our ego?
Yeah. We are big on staying grounded in our reason why we are here. And that supersedes everything. Not how we feel, not what has occurred, but why are we here? Why are we a necessity in this community? But then also what has happened to get our people to this point. And so when you're dealing with folks in the neighborhood that may be battling mental health issues or substance abuse issues, and you're trying to provide crisis care and they don't understand that you're here to help, your ego has to be removed from that situation. And yeah, we are big on just being here to care for the people, and that trumps everything. No ego.
Have you ever disagreed with the city of Cleveland approach on violence?
Absolutely. Wholeheartedly.
Okay.
In fact, when we look at other models like other cities like Detroit and Dallas and Chicago and Baltimore, in which they are drastically reducing violent crime. Baltimore, one neighborhood in Baltimore that was historically the most violent neighborhood had 0 homicides in the last 365 days. Because through a partnership with the city and a grassroots organization called Safe Streets, out in the community every day having an active presence, building rapport so where there is opportunity for violent crime to spark, they already on top of it. But you can do that with funding and resources and relationships. And so this city has not been intentional about developing a violence prevention strategy. And you can't do that without people like myself at the table.
You know, we used to.
Yes, sir.
Used to be a cop, Littlehead. Did you remember Littlehead?
No, sir.
Nashville. I guess he was a Glenville thing. It was a cop down there called Littlehead, man. That guy was about.
That was his nickname?
That was his street name. We call him Littlehead. He was, and if he listened and anybody they know exactly who he was, man. The dude had to be about 6'3", 6'4", big, tall dude. His head was real small, man. Looked like a cartoon character, and that's why we called him Littlehead. But Littlehead and his crew, they used to just jump out boys and all of that, because I grew up in an era where dudes were really on the block selling drugs. Where I tell people now, these guys, I don't know what they doing, because when they were selling drugs in those days, you only had to be out there a few weeks. They were flipping and they were rolling, getting cars, doing everything. These guys,
365 days out the year, 12-hour shifts.
12-hour shifts, man, and
clothes.
Same clothes, looking the same way. Like, what are y'all selling? What are y'all doing? I just don't get it. What's that all about?
Using as well, right? So these same guys that's out here selling dope, pushing crack, they popping perks. They're dealing with their own forms. They drinking every day. They're dealing with their own forms of substance abuse. So now the hustlers are the junkies as well. So that's what we're dealing with this younger generation. The environment I grew up around and the people I knew that was hustling, it was about getting money and building businesses too as well.
That's right.
These guys, they just want a couple dollars in their pocket, some clothes, a female, and a bottle, and they good.
That's it.
Very low expectations and no exit strategy.
You hit that on the head, man. I really feel sorry for them, because I'm like, y'all ain't getting no money. I'm watching y'all.
Go to Amazon,
no money,
brother.
man.
Go to school, go to Amazon, go to McDonald's.
I'm like, go to the military.
Yeah.
At this point, because my point is this, man, if you're going to rob me at the gas station or jack me for my car, man, go over there and shoot somebody else. You like robbing, you like shooting. Go shoot somebody and at least get paid for it, because you're not making nothing off of us with it. And you don't care about your life.
Yes, sir.
And if you don't care about your life, then do something noble.
Or if that is your perspective and that's the cause that you living and dying by, it's an Anthony Sowell in every neighborhood. There's a Fidel Castro in every neighborhood. There's some person somewhere that shot up a house with some babies in it. So if that's the type of energy you're going to have, especially towards your people, channel that the right people.
That's what I'm saying. Just channel that the right people to give them this opportunity and quit messing with us.
Yes.
Jesus.
The civilians was always off limits.
Oh, yes.
But
That's why I made that question when I asked you about how really unsafe is the city of Cleveland.
Yes.
And I was really hoping you wouldn't have said that. And that's why I asked you twice. Like, you must didn't understand what I said. I'm saying, do you believe it?
Yes,
And your answer was like, yes. And I'm like really floored by that, man. That is huge.
Because if my safety is contingent upon anybody else outside of myself, I'm truly not safe.
That is deep. That is deep. So let me ask you, what is some of the biggest challenges with the city of Cleveland as it relates to when you out here with these guys and trying to get, I hear you talk a lot about opportunities. Are
Yes, sir.
these guys really, is it opportunities that you think that's stopping them from being able to get that? Or is it our community? Because my thing with our community is at some point or another, we got to take responsibility for
Absolutely.
what we do ourselves
Sir.
and be responsible and man up on that.
Yes, sir.
And woman up on that too, because
Sir.
a lot of y'all out
Yeah.
there messed up too.
Yes, sir.
Women up on it and man up on that to take that responsibility. And when it doesn't work, we can't blame others for it not working. I know we hear a lot about our communities that we have businesses and you're not from our community and that, but our community is not building those type of
Yes, sir.
businesses. And it's a reason
Yes,
why.
sir.
And I believe that's kind of where we at. I believe the massive part of our community that destroyed us the most was when crack cocaine hit our
Yes,
communities.
sir.
It tore everything up,
sir.
and that was the break in our families.
Yes, sir.
And when I say families, that family unit
Yes, sir.
of being able to support each
Yes,
other,
sir.
because now we can't. And now we got a generation of those kids who you're talking
Yes, sir.
about who don't
Yes.
feel it.
Yeah.
And their parents didn't even
Mhm.
instill it in them to feel it. And so therefore they walking around like zombies,
Mhm.
man. It's
Yeah.
just really terrible
Yeah.
because like we say, we know they're not really making
Yeah.
no money out there.
Yeah.
It used to be funny, man, when we was growing up, man. And the dudes, they were selling drugs. You see a dude on the block one day, and remember
Yeah.
the next day he'd be riding down the street with
Yeah.
Dayton's on his
Gold,
car.
yeah, gold chain.
And everything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. And
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying that I'm pushing anybody to go do
Absolutely.
that at all, but I don't see that.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's what makes me
Yeah.
feel like that. So I just don't understand why they
Yeah.
out there. But to your point, it got to be with the drugs. Drugs got to be number one.
There are no shortages of opportunities, no shortages of resources, but the problem is that our people are not prepared to take advantage of them.
Mm.
And so that'll be the thing. Oh, we got this program for y'all, but he didn't even be prepared for that at all. What about his generational trauma, him being abused, him being subject to
Mhm.
drugs and all these other things? And to some people, it may seem it's just trying to get over it, deal with it, man. Go get your CDLs. But imagine being subjected to some of the most horrendous things on a consistent basis and then being told that pull yourself up, you'll be all right, when they don't see hope. And when every that they may have had and attempted to take advantage of, it led them in a different direction other than what they planned. So somebody has to be willing to hold their hand through these processes. And we don't have enough shepherds no more in our communities that are leading our sheep in a positive direction.
Is that, and these are younger guys you're running into,
Young and old.
young and old.
I'm seeing my peers. It's
Mhm.
like, these the same guys that's at the gas station. You 35 and you out here with the 15-year-olds?
Mm.
What?
Mhm.
What's
Mhm.
going on? And neither one of y'all getting no money.
And the 15-year-old's ready to pop your
And the
butt.
15-year-old ready to kill
He
you.
ready to kill you.
Ready to kill you at any moment.
Any moment. Exactly. That is deep, man. That is really deep. Let me ask you, do you receive any help from the city? The city doing any funding for any programs or anything you guys are doing?
As of right now, we have no funding from the city of Cleveland, but there is a philanthropic sector. The St. Luke's Foundation has
Mhm.
been a huge contributor and supporter of the work that we do. We're within the footprint of St. Luke's. And so 2025, they funded us $150,000 for this violence prevention pilot in our community center. And then this year we got funded $212,000
Okay.
for our programs. And so while some institutions and systems may not support us, there are a few that will.
Okay. All right, that's a huge.
Yes, sir.
That's huge, man,
Yes, sir.
especially for your organization
Yes,
getting
sir.
started, man, because that's part of the battle. And a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
these organizations don't make it because they don't get that type of funding.
Exactly.
So that's really good you got it.
Yes, sir.
Do you kind of maintain the theme that y'all kind of independent? You
Yes,
kind of
sir.
keep that independence. And
Yes,
how
sir.
do you try to maintain that?
I think that some of it, I'm gonna be completely honest too. Trials and tribulations, some of it is by force because we have been isolated with criminal charges. And so some people, institutions, and other organizations won't touch us, won't partner with us. We had things on the table prior to our last legal situation, a partnership with a large healthcare institution that's within our neighborhood. And once the news of the charges came out, those conversations stalled out. I was developing a partnership with the detention center to provide programming, and I was going to be contracted. Once the charges were then came out publicly, the opportunity was taken off the table. And so, yeah, I'll say it's not really by choice, but we've had to
Oh, I
develop
understand what
this
you're
and
saying.
move this way.
You just keep moving.
I keep
You
moving
ain't
because the
got
work
time
don't
to
stop.
the work don't stop. And speaking of that, didn't you got acquitted
Yes,
from
sir.
all of those?
Found not guilty.
And
Yes,
they
sir.
never, they ain't trying
It's
to.
a forever stain, and that is this
is true.
battle is psychological. It's more psychological than it is anything.
Because you know what's fucked up about it is they put a lot of effort out when stuff is bad, but when you got acquitted, it was like,
one little line.
hey y'all, he got.
And then they hid it behind a paywall,
Yeah,
so you got to pay to even read the article.
So that's how they do, man. And
I'm
that's
walking out the
terrible.
courtroom. I got Ed Gallic with the camera rolling and the light in my face, calling me a terrorist.
Wow.
Before any of the information even came out.
Wow.
Before it just was. I'm grateful for these experiences. Nonetheless, it has made me better.
If your model is effective, why isn't it being scaled through policy? Why do you think they haven't made it policy?
Yeah.
Lawmakers.
Yeah. I think a part of that was tied into the conversation we had earlier about how systems profit from poverty and crime in our communities. I found out recently that to house a juvenile in ODYS is almost $200,000. It's $190,000 annually. That much revenue is generated to house this juvenile. Now imagine they got 200 kids in there, or 250 or 300 kids. Again, it's like
people say that,
yes, sir,
but they don't make no money off of that. Because let me give you an example why I say they don't make no money off of it. It costs money to house it as a taxpayer and anything.
Absolutely. It costs us.
It costs us. But the county doesn't make any money from that.
Yeah.
They don't. It ain't like the county said it costs in private prisons, yes, but the county is a county jail. So I don't know if it works that way.
Now let's look at who these institutions contract with, right? Say your cousin or your homeboy got a soap company that institution is then partnered with, or your brother-in-law then owns an educational system, and then so this is how
you saying it's trickling down.
It's trickling down. Oh, we'll build this facility over here in this rural area.
But you got all the cleaning. You got all of this. That's how you say it gets.
This is how the money is moved around. So we can't say that I'm cutting a check directly to this person for this. No, they're providing a service, and I'm contracting them for it.
That is wild. That is wild. I said, my man got an answer for everything, don't he? Them boy. You ever met these guys who I ain't letting them off the hook? No. His cousin getting paid, I bet you. And you probably right, man. We go through there and look down there. You find out
yes, sir.
They get paid every element of this
what
thing.
What about the judge out in Pennsylvania that was selling kids to a prison facility?
That's
and he was getting
crazy.
a kickback for every kid he sent there.
You know what? That's something that's been going on a long time.
Yes,
so I definitely don't doubt any of that
yes,
you're saying as it relates to that. Let's get into the business of what's going on. There's real tension in our community when it comes down to economics. We talk about ownership, control, building Black businesses, and that's necessary. But at the same time, many neighborhoods don't yet have the capital infrastructure to fully sustain that. So outside businesses come in to fill the gap. The question becomes, do we reject that, or do we manage that reality while building our own capacity? Let's address the situation with local business owners that actually happens to have a different perspective in that. How do you feel about that? I know because me and you, I represent a lot of different businesses over the years. I had a great opportunity of just being able to meet a gentleman years over. Now it's been over 30 years I've been working with and helping with Arab businesses and things of that nature. What's your thought process on that? Because I hear a lot of people, me and you share a meeting that we're in, and there was a certain ethnic brother who was in this meeting who made a comment that says, hey, I want to see my neighborhood back the way it was. He has to be in his 60s or 70s. When I was young, which had to be 30, 50, 60 years ago, in the community, he said the Hungarians owned that community and lived there, and he wanted to see the neighborhood look like that again. This is a Black man, by the way, who's saying he wants to see his neighborhood look like the Hungarian neighborhoods again. Then he asked the owners of the business, who are Arab, where do they live? And they said they live in Strongsville. And he said, I want my neighborhood to look like Strongsville. The answer to that question, I think we all want our neighborhood to look like Strongsville. And before our community was Black, it was other communities that were there, But from what I remember of people who lived in those communities, it wasn't no place for us.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't like the hungry
The
people.
doors were open.
Yeah, the
Come on
doors were
in.
open
Yeah.
for us to do that,
Yeah.
nor
Yeah.
did we have businesses
Yes, sir.
in those
We
communities
most
back
certainly
then.
did not.
We definitely didn't
Yes,
have
sir.
businesses. And so moving forward, we don't have businesses now.
Yes,
So
sir.
what's your theory on that?
Yeah, I agree with the second half of what you said in regards to managing those relationships, creating those community standards and guidelines, but then also building up our own economic infrastructure to where we can have ownership.
That's
Now,
correct.
some communities in Cleveland, there are Black people that have ownership of these spaces, but what's happening is the nice part of the neighborhood, that's where they're developing at. They're going to build their businesses up over there. They're going to put good people in those spots. What's happening in communities like where I'm at on Buckeye or Mount Pleasant, or Woodhill, they'll bring in a Black startup business and have them do the build out of the entire space. Now, we're talking about somebody with very minimal resources. This is probably their first time establishing a business, and they're being tasked with the build out of the space on top of that. And what we're seeing is these businesses are collapsing. They're not built for sustainability. And so my thing is, while we do have Palestinian business owners in our neighborhood, they in fact are a part of our communities now. I got a business owner across the street from me, Mr. Alex. He's had that hair store since for as long as I can remember. He lost his son to gun violence in that neighborhood. A shootout happens outside. His son goes outside to see what happened, and he's hit with a bullet. He's impacted by what happens here. He then is a part of this community. So how can we all build a rapport in which what happens to you happens to me? And so you aren't just taking economic resources from this neighborhood and going back to Strongsville, but you also investing in this community while you're here as well. And at minimum, we're all prioritizing the safety of people in this neighborhood. At minimum.
At minimum, we have to do that. And I believe the way business is going, quite frankly, if you do good business, people are going to come. If you do bad business,
white,
they're not
Black,
gonna come.
Asian,
whatever you are.
Yes,
and
sir.
so to that point where I believe that there are businesses in the community that people have issues with.
Yes, sir.
Because I believe that every business ain't good. When I was growing up in Glenville, Michael White was growing up, he was a councilman. He was famous because we used to have a meat market at the corner of our street up on 105 and St. Clair, somewhere in there. And he was known for protesting and them closing this meat market down. Now, we talking about in the 70s, early 80s, late 70s, 80s, when he did that. Now, and I both know that wasn't no Black meat market. No, it was a white meat. It wasn't even a Palestinian meat market. It was some white organized Jewish or something who was selling bad meat that was in there that they decided that they wanted to close that business down. So they ended up closing that business down. So my point is that I believe in our community, if we have bad business owners, then yes, we should be closing them down. And the way you close a business down, people, is just by not shopping. That's it. These businesses in our community are on such a tight margin that they can't afford to be closed. If you stood out there and you told people not to shop here for 1 week, you'll probably end up closing them down. But you have to be able to do that. The other part about it that I think that's really messed up, to your point when we talk about things that are done on purpose, is the fact that the lack of services and food and just the stuff we need for basic needs are not there, that you tolerate the bad business because that's the closest place I can go play this number. That's the closest place I can go grab a pack of cigarettes. Or if I got to get something for the kids, that's the closest place I can go do it. So I tolerate the rude service. I tolerate all the other stuff just to get what I get because that's all I know. And that's another problem.
That's selfish.
Yes. Yes.
That's selfish.
Yeah.
And again, like I just understand the ripple effect, and wanting better for myself is wanting better for my community as well. And there's nothing wrong with holding people to a standard. No. There is a very low to no expectations in our neighborhoods. And that's why people set up shop here and do what they want. And to be honest, like some of the worst businesses in my community are owned by Black people. I got 8 smoke shops on one street.
Wow.
One street. Funeral homes, liquor stores. Like I'm surrounded by children in my neighborhood are surrounded by all of the tools that they need to destroy themselves. They got access to within arm's reach. And so again, like their version of reality compared to what I had to deal with in my childhood is drastically different. And so,
and again, that's we'll get into the policy piece of it again, because to your point, you shouldn't have 5 smoke shops in one area like that. You know what I mean? And but then we get to the point where I need to rent it out because I've been a business owner too who owns that building that's empty, and I need to put some tenants in it, but you the only one keep coming to me like, hey, I can get open tomorrow, and I got ready to go.
I'm ready.
You see what I mean? So it's a twisted game we in the hood, man.
Yeah, and again, it's by design.
Yeah,
there's no Apple stores are coming to say, hey, I want to build my institution on Buckeye, and so again, it's like almost like a crime of opportunity.
We'll go into the reality on that.
Yes,
the reality of that also is in the city of Cleveland. We know we have a literacy rate, a very low literacy rate where people are reading at a 4th grade level or something to that nature. We also know that the average income in the city of Cleveland is roughly about $25,000 to live in the city of Cleveland. The average income of the people working there. So a lot of the money, resources, and things are not there. So to the fact that we want an Apple store, we want some of the things that we want, they just not sustainable in those areas.
I'll say this. Go down to any community, King, Kennedy, Buckeye, everybody got an iPhone. Everybody got on, vast majority got on a pair of Jordans, driving an Audi. So we spend money, we invest in the things that we want. The question, let's spend that $250 on them J's and stand in line for 2 hours in the cold.
I disagree. And let me tell you how I disagree. I think black folks, y'all could kill me for saying, black folks do a lot of knockoffs.
Yeah, Canal Street. Going to New York, yes, sir.
I grew up on 4th Street downtown.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes, sir.
our folks do a lot of knockoffs.
Yes, sir.
Them J's don't be them J's, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That Louis Vuitton person, them don't be Louis Vuitton. That was the Louis Vuitton person Latif was selling in his and he got a 2 for $20. I mean, I'm just keeping it real.
$2.20.
That's the hood. Come on, the hood. We got people in the hood who bring it to your house.
Yeah.
All right. So when people say that, I don't want that to be a false narrative because I also know that we established that the dudes on the block ain't making no money like they used to, so they're not bringing no money home. The average income in the community is roughly about $25,000. So if you're doing that and you paying rent and your other stuff, you really tight. If you do got a little side hustle to do something, man, doing that or paying $3,000 or $300 or $400 for a pair of J's, and my man just rolled over and said, I got one here for you, $150, and it looks, you buying $150.
Yes, sir.
Everybody in that fire sticks.
Both sides.
All right, all of that stuff, it came from the hood. They was jailbreaking a Spectrum back in the days when you used to, they was spraying, what was it, Direct TV with the parents in there. All of that came from the hood.
The little Time Warner, you put the penny in the cable box and got the, yes, sir.
So to me, I hear when people say that, it looks good. That Audi is used. Probably got 1,000, got 100,000 miles on it. You know what I'm saying? He got it looking clean and everything. Bought it off of the buy here, pay here lot that some drug dealer went ahead and put some rims on it, and you went and I grew up in the hood and I saw it. That's how we survived. You know, I didn't become uppity until I got older in my life. But in the beginning, we was hustling. We was grinding. So when I hear that, I'm like, but no. Brothers in the hood, all of them in the hood got money, but the majority of the people don't. So I don't think that we spend as much money on that as we got. Now, somebody also told me, you know, that with that, the type of money we do and how we spend it is different also. So if you do get welfare, if you do get other stuff, you make a choice to spend it on whatever you do. So that is a form of spending power. Okay, you can say that's a form of spending power. So I get that, but I think so. Chairman, I push back on you a little bit on that.
I understood,
I think we the kings are looking
good. We done finessed and pulled some stuff off. We go down to New York, go to the street, get everything we need for $200. Yeah, absolutely.
And we come back and we look funky fresh.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And you go and you do it. But then you got some people who do that. And then you got the others who will spend their last dime on it, to your point. They say, I just got to have I gotta have this, I gotta have that, and they do without to have it. So you might see them looking good, but you go to that crib ain't looking good at all, right?
I got some kids, every time I see him, he got a new pair of shoes on, Nike Tech Fit, and mom working 2-3 jobs just to try to keep up. And so I definitely understand.
And like you say, in that case, mom, 2 or 3 jobs just to keep up.
Just to keep up.
Man, so when you get that, I think that's what the hood is made up on. I'm gonna give 2 facts out here to most people. The average gas station owner who actually own that gas station, average makes roughly about 110, 120 grand a year if they lucky.
All profit?
That's after they pay everybody and do everything they do. That it might be 110. Now you'll look at that and be like, them places making millions of dollars in there. You know, after they pay that, after they pay all this stuff, all the fees, pay for all of that, the average, because I work with them, I'm like, break it down. What's the average? The average person makes about that. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think I would do all of that for $100,000. I don't think I would go there, take the abuse, have to pay, deal with that every day and that for $100,000 a year. When if I have that ability, this is what I'm trying to get to, and this is why I want people. Oh, what are you talking about? No, if you got the ability to make a choice of what you can do to make $100,000, because they got a choice. I wouldn't make that be my choice. I want to open up a gas station. That's my point. What I'm saying. The other thing that most people don't understand about filling stations and stuff like that, and I'm not here to do, I just want to put some facts out so while we're talking, we can understand that. On the east side of Cleveland, the average in the city of Cleveland, east side, you know what the average spend on gas is?
Less than $10. $8.
$7.
$7. I knew
$7.
I knew it.
And you know what the average spend in the suburbs is?
20, 30,
$40. So what happens? When you go down in the hood, you always see these gas stations jam-packed full of people. And you be like, oh, these people, that, because they all in there buying gas like that. You go out to the suburbs, you run, it's always empty because people in the suburbs fill up. They fill up for the week. They go on to work. The $7 is, man, I got to make it to work tomorrow.
Just tomorrow.
Oh, I just got $10 from Latif. Let me put $10 in my car. Hey, I borrowed $20 from my homeboy. You see what I mean? That's the hood. Then we back to the other thing about the hood is that, remember, we talked about the store. So now I got to go here, I got $20. I got to put 10 in the tank. Got to go in the store, buy the girl a soda because she on my ass. You know what I mean? I got to do this.
Grab me a beer, cigarettes.
Beer, cigarette. That's the hood. And with that, it creates a certain type of clientele. It creates a certain type of, I need to get in, because, man, I still go down in the hood. I grew up on 105 in St. Clair, so I'm from the St. Clair, Glenville area. And I still go down on 105 in Somerset, some of the places where I used to go. And when I go in there, I get that feeling like I'm back in the trenches, but this is it. I'm not intimidated by it, but I know that's where, so when I go to the store on Buckeye, I put my antennas up a little bit more, but it ain't that I won't go, because I know where I'm at. And that's what I'm trying to get at. So I just think it's kind of hard when we look at that and we talk about businesses. And I understand why there's black businesses wouldn't do it. It's the same thing, Fahiem, when I was growing up and doing some work in the neighborhood. One of the first jobs I got getting back going, I was working at Glenville Development Corp. And my job was to go around and help find houses for them to redevelop. And what I found out was that back people would buy these houses and they were buying these businesses that they were doing for their family. And I bought a dry cleaners, and you my son, and you working in this and that, and I'm working hard. And I'm like, man, I'm working hard for you to go to college. I mess around, I send you to college, you end up going to Morehouse. You hit Hotlanta and you be like, Dad, I'm staying. I ain't coming back. Now, Dad got a business, he got a house, and his son don't want it. His kids don't want it. So what ended up happening in the hood, they start selling those houses off to anybody. Remember, people say, hey, we'll buy your house, and people flipping houses like crazy. They were buying them out underneath people, and they said, oh, they buying them from all. No, people were selling those properties because their kids didn't want them. And people were selling their businesses because we came to a point. And if you look at the elevation of black folks, came to a point where we worked for white people. We slaved for them first. Then after we ended up slaving for them, some of them gave us businesses. Some of us made us buy businesses. And when we bought those businesses and my kids came up, it was like, hey, the new thing is college. We need to be educated. I want my kids to be educated. I don't want you working. You ain't going to work like they did me. You ain't going to do it. And we keep that same thing. We want our kids to always do better. And with that, we did that. And now, to me, what that hurt was that we didn't develop, in that sending our kids away, we didn't develop entrepreneurs out of that. We created educators. And we created people who wanted to go to school and get these degrees and went off and did good stuff, but they was not there to say, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur and build. So now you don't have black businesses in the community the way we used to have. All the black stores, they sold, right?
What's one of the key pivotal components to black success? People associate that with leaving the neighborhood. In order to really reach the status symbol of success, I got to leave from down here.
We associate that again with the crack cocaine and everything because it made the neighborhood at a point that you wanted to leave.
Yes, sir.
All right, because you used to be proud to go to Glenville. I'm proud to go to Hay. I'm proud to go to these schools, Kennedy, right? But then the schools got so bad, you was like, I gotta leave just to get my kids to go to school.
For my generation to hear and to see the way that the older generations navigate in regards to pride from y'all neighborhoods. If you from East Cleveland, you from East Cleveland for life, right? And if you run into some of the older guys from East Cleveland, Oak Queens from East Cleveland, they proud of that. It's not the same right now with this new generation. And they also don't have the same level of sweat equity put into the neighborhood. Like it's different when you grow up in this neighborhood and you know everybody and you 5 to 20 and you really had to put in work and your name or reputation, your family's name or reputation was based on how you showed up in the community. And that's where your respect came from. For them now, it's social media, it's the internet. And so you can be wherever you want to, whatever you can cosplay. You can be whoever you want to be, wherever you want to be. You can cosplay now. And so that's why I'm so intentional about how I show up and why I show up.
Do you think we should focus on ownership or readiness for ownership?
I would say not at this or that, but at this and that situation. We have to
do both.
We got to focus on ownership, but then we got to prepare that next generation to take over that ownership. And that's where I'm seeing the baton be dropped at right there, is that generations prior to me didn't prepare us to then take on the mantle. And so now Papa want to die with sitting on the throne because he didn't prepare anybody that he felt confident enough to step up into that.
Do you believe the community can demand economic control without economic discipline?
No, you don't got no economic discipline. What were we doing here?
And that goes back to the tennis shoes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a fact. Yeah. I'm just grateful that I had a set of parents and family that didn't prioritize brands or looks or optics. It was about appreciating the value of whatever it is that you earn. That's yours.
Let's go into some black liberation. There we go. We use the word liberation a lot, but real liberation isn't just about resisting the system. It's about building discipline, structure, and accountability within the community itself.
Yes, sir.
So the real question is, are we preparing to govern ourselves, or are we waiting for someone to fix those things?
I believe that our focus has to shift to us preparing to govern ourselves. And what that looks like is raising up our next generation of leaders and being intentional about that the same way that other communities do. What is happening is that our leaders are being chosen for us, but they're not being raised up by us. And so our agenda and our needs are not a part of their faculties at all. They're complete from that. And i.e., a prime example is look at the mayor of the city of Cleveland, right? A black face maybe grew up and spent time within these different neighborhoods on the southeast side of Cleveland, but his core concerns are not the concerns of black people in the city of Cleveland, Ohio. That's evident based off of what we're seeing happen in our communities on a daily basis. I'm seeing there's a southeast side development plan that's supposed to be happening, but again, we are not seeing the development happen in our communities. We're seeing some of it happen downtown and on the west side, but I'm not seeing it on Buckeye. I'm not seeing it on Mount Pleasant and Wood Hill and so on and so forth.
We'll go back to that. I ain't gonna let you just skirt over that one.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk a little bit about that. You say you don't believe the mayor
yes, sir,
is doing enough
precisely
to help African folks.
Yes, sir.
And
on the southeast side of
on
Cleveland.
southeast side of Cleveland.
Yes, sir. There's no clear agenda to uplifting the people, black people specifically on the southeast side of Cleveland. There's no clear agenda. Yes,
Really?
sir. Yes,
I
sir.
thought he made a plan to do some development and stuff. He made a plan. Whether he did it or not,
Yes,
there
sir.
was a plan made.
There was a plan made. And again, the dynamics within that plan aren't going to ensure that the people that are in these communities where this development is coming at are not going to be displaced.
What do you think he should do better then?
I think that when you're building something and you have the people that you're allegedly building this for at the table and a part of that process, that to me is a foundational component in guiding the intentions of the project.
Are we too quick to blame the system and too slow to examine ourselves?
I think that for the masses of people, it's so easy to point the finger at the system as opposed to what can I do right now, today, to change my circumstances.
Do you think what percentage of violence is internal conflict? Where you think these people this is just shit they just really
All of it.
all of it
I see
battling with themselves.
99.9% of it is self-hate, is unhealed trauma, is undiagnosed intellectual disabilities. I'm seeing kids, majority of my kids are on the spectrum for autism and they're undiagnosed, but I'm just recognizing it in the behaviors and in the patterns. So we talk about children not being able to read, literacy rate. A lot of them have intellectual disabilities and they're undiagnosed. Let's talk about lead.
Right.
And the impact that had on kids on the southeast side of Cleveland.
Which they didn't do
nothing about, but we built a $100 million headquarters downtown Cleveland, the same institution that is responsible for the violent crime, some of the violent crime we're seeing, because how lead impacts the brain and our young people and makes them inherently violent. That's a real thing.
I'm really taken back on that one as it relates to this lead thing and the money that they sending back. And I hear it might even be even more coming up. I just think that's terrible.
Yes,
and I believe this is not the first year. This might be the second time this came up. I think it came up again. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, y'all can say I'm wrong. But I believe this came up again. This ain't the first time we had to send money back for this lead issue in the city of Cleveland. And I think that right there is a real blatant, to your point. If there was something that if you wanted, what Kanye West said that time about George Bush don't care about black folks, right?
Yes, sir.
If that right there affects the east side of Cleveland, African-American black people directly. And these guys sent that money back. I think it's terrible. And I'm going to even go a step further, and people be mad at me if you want to, but bringing on that Rebecca Morrow to come on and put her in a position where she's going to be over that as well. And she was part of the people that was to push this thing through the first time that dropped the ball.
Yes,
I think is even more a smack in our face as African Americans. So
relationship based. When you realize like how moves are made and decisions are made at the top,
terrible, man.
It's relationship based.
I don't really like to get in they shit too much, but I think that when I saw that, I was really disappointed in how they moved on
$152,000 a year. That's her salary.
Her salary to do something that they messed up in the first place. It don't give me the confidence that you're going to fix it. That's the problem.
Yes, sir.
And I've been with the brother. I've been trying to roll with him, but on this one, I'm kind of like, hey, dude, I don't know how y'all let that happen. And then to turn around and do that, I just thought it was bad. But who am I? I'm just a podcaster. Hey, what the hell we know, Chairman? We just sitting here wasting our time, right? Shit, hell.
Yes, sir.
All right, what part of this role do you think the parents play?
I think that the parents play a huge role. And I think that from the parents' perspective, the most impactful thing that parents can do is heal from their traumas in order to break these cycles that we're seeing perpetuated in our communities. The violence that we're seeing, that started at home. When I got a kid telling me I was in his bathtub and my mom got mad, I got in trouble at school and she threw the television in the tub with me. Or I'm getting whipped with an extension cord. Yes, these were things that we viewed as discipline, but we're not isolating how that trauma then impacts that kid that has to go out into the world and then navigate socially, carrying that. Yeah, so when I get mad now, what I see my mom, dad, grandma, auntie, uncle, and big brothers do, they handle it with violence. So now I'm perpetuating that violence because that's all that's been expressed to me. That's all that's been modeled.
There's a certain thing where you can finally give it away because you've been taking it. So now you finally feel I can give it out, and that's way abusive, way more abusive. Do you think that parents should be held accountable, though? Do you think that what they're doing now where these kids are actually doing stuff and they're coming back to the parents saying, you know what, you're going to get held accountable for that and we pressing charges on you?
I think that parents should be held accountable for not being engaged when presented multiple opportunities to be engaged. And what that should look like is the part where I haven't thought that deep into it yet. But I feel as if parents have been connected to resources, have had opportunities to then be engaged in those resources with the proper supports and choose not to, then that parent is accountable because that's negligence. Now, it's one thing when you crying for help and nobody pulling up to help you. You like, I tried everything. But when the resources are here and the supports are in place and you like, I'd rather sit at home, watch the game, or I'm about to go to the bar, or I'm about to do this or that rather than be engaged in that process, then they should be held accountable.
That's interesting. What are the faith leaders working all of this? Are you working with any other church. We done picked on the police. We done picked on council. We done picked on the mayor. Now it's the pastor's turn. Is these pastors doing anything to help? Any churches working? Any faith leaders getting behind what you guys are doing with this, your nonprofit and stuff?
In 10 years, no, sir. We've had not one single pastor say, hey, this violent crime is the issue. How can we support y'all? Before we even got a facility, nobody was like, hey, we would like to start a youth mentorship program here. Again, there is something about the way that we navigate as an organization that makes us unsafe for certain pockets of Black people in our communities, i.e. the churches is a primary example of that.
What do you think the churches could do to help in this fight? Because you're out there, and they maybe if they listen and be like, what is you want? What you think I could do? What do you think the churches could do?
What they were originally doing, which was being that resource hub for people in the community. People are hungry. They need support. They need resources. They need programs. The church was that. Now we only seeing the churches open on Sundays, parking lot full, and then these people leave. Many of them don't live in the neighborhood. They leave, and that's it. Come back Sunday, it's just business as usual. Everything has become so transactional in our communities. And again, the churches were the anchors. The churches were the anchors for stabilizing our communities. And that, again, I got 7, 8 churches on one strip in my neighborhood.
Do you think if the churches said we wanted to have a community meeting and they really push it out there, the community would come hear what they have to say? No?
Because they ain't put in no work.
I'm just why I'm asking.
Yeah, you can't attempt to provide structure or education in a space in which you are uneducated or unfamiliar. You ain't been out here in the streets, you can't advocate for us. You can't lead us in any type of direction if you have not been outside in the streets. And that's the thing where I know back in the day, there were pastors that was out on the front lines. Drug epidemic hit the pastors, the congregation, they outside. And they're really just setting a standard in the neighborhood. And it's not, again, to discourage or chase anybody off, but building relationships. We don't have that no more.
So you don't think no church in this city?
Not that I'm privy to, no, sir. No, sir.
I'm not pulling for that.
Yes,
I was like, you
yes,
about
sir.
to say, Bow and Boom Church does a great job. I don't know.
Yeah, not that I'm familiar with.
Okay.
Not that I'm familiar with.
Is masculinity being redirected?
And when you say that, what you mean?
Is these boys too soft?
I think.
Or are we too mean? This is a generational question. This ain't a street question. This is more generated. They like to say, my generation, we just too hard and we too rough, and we saying they too soft.
Yeah.
Well, I like just asking that question to y'all millennials.
I think that older generations are not comprehensive, and that this younger generation has become so desensitized and they feel nothing. And so I don't think that they are soft or hard. I think that they are just non-existent in regards to emotional intellect. And again, there has to be a bridge built between the two generations for us to meet in the middle and then heal together and provide understanding. Because if us up here, we don't comprehend, my neighbor growing up, and my grandfather, he snatch you up in a heartbeat and get you right, and you cutting the grass and you showing respect and you here in the house at a certain time. And all these things the structure was put in place. And again, look what happened to our neighborhoods. We stabilized. Here come the drugs. Here come the guns. And so all of these things were pulled away. And so now we got a generation of kids raising themselves. And they got the internet now. They got access to unlimited information, ChatGPT. They can literally be whoever they want to be. And they're choosing to be the Crash Outs. They're choosing to be the YNs. They're choosing to be NBA Youngboy or King Von. Because in our neighborhoods, that's what respect is built around. Fear. Not love, not understanding, but fear.
Yeah, maybe that's why they ain't going to church.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Can a community rebuild itself without waiting for outside funding?
Yes, sir. I think it's very capable. Again, I think that there has to be supreme intentionality, right? There has to be an organizational structure within our neighborhoods to help stabilize our communities. Again, some people just seem to be buzzwords, but there has to be an intentional strategy developed to get us to a point of stabilization. Other than that, if we're not doing that and we're not moving towards that plan cohesively, it's just chatter. It's just surface level talking, and people are building platforms just based off of saying, I'm an activist and I'm here to, and it's just chatter. Like, where to work at though? What have you sacrificed for your people?
So do you think New Era is really trying to rebuild the community, or are you guys trying to reform it?
What I say is we're ushering in culture. Because our community.
That's a form of reform.
That's a form of reform, yes, sir. Our communities are just a form of reform, yes, sir.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with
yes,
that.
Sir, yes,
Obviously, it ain't nothing wrong with
it. Words matter, right?
Yeah, reforming means you want to change. You want to change the culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and because that's what we're talking about. We done lost our culture.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm with you on that.
No identity with the neighborhoods. And so when people come through Buckeye, and they see our community center and they look at the ground on the sidewalk and they see that red, black, and green.
Okay.
And they may not know where it originated from, but they know it's connect with them from a spiritual perspective. It's some sense of pride that's formulated, a
correct.
seed that's planted
correct.
within that. And then we capitalize off of that now. We dive into our history and our culture and then set those expectations. Our values are what make us a community, not the things that we like and who we decide we're going to up and show up to be that day. No, your core values, and your core values are what builds commonality between us, whether we're black, white, Asian, or Latino, gay, straight, atheist, Christian, Catholic, Jewish, it don't matter.
We're going to take a moment on this one to send a shout out because you made me think about something when you talked about walking past your place, the red, black, and green.
Yes,
We lost one of our giants
Yes,
this
sir.
week. And that's our boy. We're going to give a big shout out to Khalid Samad. He's now gone and
Yes.
got his wings. So he done moved on, and we want to give a big shout out for him and all
Yes,
the
sir.
work he's done.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
that's
sir.
why when
Yeah.
I talk to you about it, it reminds me of the days when he was doing the work he was doing out there in the streets and trying to bring people along. And that's why when I started out, I said he reminded me of the Panthers. But I guess that's what I was more or less trying to localize that. It would have been more what Samad and those guys were doing for years and trying to bring awareness and consciousness to our community.
And I would like to also pay my respects to the elder Khalid Samad and his family. There is no Chairman Fahiem without a elder Khalid Samad, who was a mentor to my father, who then poured into me. And so I'm a direct descendant or lineage of his teachings and what he represented in our neighborhoods. There is no Chairman Fahiem without that.
That's deep, man. That's big shout out to Samad and his family,
sir.
man. We want to take a moment to make sure we do that. And we're going to make this program. We're going to shout this program out and we're going to dedicate it to Mr. Samad because we talking about everything that he would have been on. If he would have been in good shape, he'd been sitting right here with us today.
And
so
I pray the ancestors welcome him with open arms and joy.
Yes. Let's talk about longevity, structure, and power. Movements come and go. What lasts is structure. So the real test is whether what you're building can outlast you.
Yes, sir.
So in New Era, what is bigger than you as an individual? What makes it bigger than you?
The only true test is time. That's my perspective. The only true test is time. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. I am in this for the long haul, for generations. And for me, being able to build an institution within my neighborhood that can stand for 200 years, long after I'm gone, and raising up this generation of young people in my neighborhood on the southeast side of Cleveland, providing them with a sense of identity, and then watching them come back and redevelop our neighborhoods based off of what they learned and our structure is powerful. And then my own children, that many of whom I birthed, many of whom I didn't, that I've taken in, being able to see them transform in real time and have a certain level of accountability when it comes to uplifting our culture and our people. To me, those are the things that I truly place my value in regards to longevity and being able to stand the test of time.
What do you see success look like in the next 5 years?
Success in the next 5 years to me looks like us replicating our community center on Buckeye. We have a community resource hub. So being able to replicate that in different neighborhoods in the city of Cleveland and on a national scale, as well as expanding some of our outreach programs. And so we do these community engagement walks. Folks have started reaching out in different neighborhoods, Glenville, St. Clair Superior, East Cleveland, and they want to implement these walks now. And so what I've been doing over the last 30 days is training people how to conduct these engagement walks.
So let me ask you this question then. If you could take control of the city's violent strategy, what would you change first?
The first thing I would do was I would create a youth council and empower a lot of these same folks that are in the neighborhood that may be negative role players and some of the brightest of our youth. I would empower them to help to support with a comprehensive strategy because, again, what is it that y'all need that's going to get y'all tethered to where this is something you're willing to commit to? And it's not just for, you don't only care about doing the right things from 12 to 3, and then when 3 hit, you back outside and everything is full go. And so having them involved in a way in which together we develop a comprehensive strategy, again, like seeing what other cities are doing and having a significant impact with addressing some of the leading cause of death of our young people between ages 13 and 34 is gun violence. And so they have to be at the table.
The young people?
Yes, sir.
Ask them where they're getting the guns from?
Yes, sir. not to ask them where they're getting the guns from, but how do we keep a young man like you that look like you or your little brother from getting his hands on that gun or wanting to, because the gun gonna be there.
Well, you just say they gotta get the gun because they gotta
Yes,
walk
sir.
the neighborhood.
Yes, sir. But this is the thing now. How do we change the mindset of where the gun is there, but I don't want it now?
I need it.
But I need it, but I'm not gonna use it to take your life. I'm gonna use it to protect and defend myself and my family, but I'm not walking out the house looking for a body. I'm not walking out the house saying, Mr. King got a nice watch, I'm about to rob you. So how do we change the mindset where the weapon is still the same, the tool is the same, but the person holding it is thinking different?
I'm gonna let you ride on that one. That's a good one. We can go back because the only reason why I'm saying that like that, I agree with you on it, but I think it's kind of, if you're telling me that the city isn't safe enough that I need to have it, and we're talking about young people without the mind to be able to determine that. That's called maturity and everything else it takes to know. It was sort of back in our day. Remember, the joke used to be in our day, because we didn't carry guns, it was the kung fu. He can kill you with one punch. You know what I mean? And he'll get into it, but I ain't gonna mess with you because I know I got discipline.
Yes, sir.
There's more discipline in me, and if I kill you, they'll take me to jail because these hands are lethal weapons.
Yes, sir.
Right? We were on that net.
Yes, sir.
But it was a maturity because a lot of that, what it did, it was a set of conflict resolution. Because the dudes who will get in your face, you'll be like that. And it was a psych message too, because you would be like, maybe this dude can fight.
Yeah.
Because I'm really all in his ass, and he's sitting up there calm like, I can kill you, brother, but I'm not. And you kind of stepped away from that. Where today, so if you're saying they need to have these weapons, my point is, how can we say that in the same point that we need to have a mindset when we know that they're mentally incapable of doing that?
The same tool in the hand of a fool and a wise man, like a gun in the hand of a fool is a weapon, but it's not really a weapon. It's a weapon of destruction. A gun in the hand of a wise man can be used to preserve life. And so that's the message when I'm talking to them. The weapon can be the same, but how are you carrying it? What are you how are you moving? And again, we're seeing is a lot of the energy the negative energy that we're seeing manifest in our communities, people are attracting that based on their behavior and their conduct and what they feed their brain. So if I get out the car or before I leave out the house, I'm listening to 5 songs and they all talking about killing each other and selling dope and walking somebody down. That's the energy I'm carrying with me when I leave out the door. And so if somebody approached me, no hesitation, I'm on that. But if I'm healed and I'm listening to something that could be more there, I got jazz playing, or I'm listening to some Johnny Coltrane, Sammy Davis Jr. I'm not walking out the house on demon time now. The vibration is a little lifted. So it's about reaching the minds and helping give them a different perspective.
What are the biggest blind spots we have right now?
You mean
as it relates to, what do you think our biggest thing we're just really not, the city is just not seeing? You guys just not
get out the way. Having to be in control of something that they deem as a solution or being a part of a solution. The way that the city co-ops movements, things that have an impact, they rebrand it and throw their label on it so that they can get the credit for it. That's the part that we have to get to as a city, where as long as the work being done, I don't need the credit for it. I don't care about the credit as long as the impact is felt. And so again, that's what we're seeing in cities like Detroit, Baltimore, Dallas, Chicago. Progress in regards to violence prevention is being made, and the city don't got to stamp it. It don't need a city seal of approval. Right. And to me, that's what is so empowering about what we do and why we face the opposition that we do, because it can't be co-opted.
Tonight's conversation wasn't about options, it was about responsibility. Whether you agree with Chairman Fahiem approach or not, it's a deeper issue and bigger than one organization. Our whole is way bigger, and the problem we got is huge. And one organization possibly is not going to be able to fix it. Who's responsible for the safety of our community? Is it government? Is it grassroots leadership? Or is it us, our discipline, our structure, our wellness to hold ourselves accountable? But because truth is the truth, no community can be empowered without the willingness to govern itself. Real power isn't just protection, it's structure, it's ownership, and it's accountability. Chairman Fahiem, we appreciate you stepping into our program today and being a part of what we're doing. What we do on our program, when we end most programs, we give you an opportunity. That camera right, which one you want him on, Lateef? That camera right there is your camera. You get a chance to look right into that camera and take your time, man. Whatever you want to say to the people, say that. Make sure you leave all your handles where they can reach out and make sure they can
Sir.
get in touch with the organization and all of that, how they
Sir.
can do that. And that camera's yours.
Yes, sir. So do you remember when I walked in, you asked me how I felt and what my response was? What was that response?
Your response, you said you was feeling, you said, I'm feeling powerful.
Powerful. You question was like powerful, huh?
Powerful. Yeah, and I
Yes,
was
sir.
like, powerful. Right.
Yes, sir.
That's good. You're feeling powerful.
And the reason why I feel powerful is because I realize that life is not just happening around me, but it's responding to me. So with that being said, that there is a power force that we are directly connected to that's moving through all of us as individuals. And when we connect to that source, y'all, we are powerful beings. And so
Start over. I want you to
Yes,
look
sir. Yes,
into
sir.
that camera. You looking down and you
Oh, yes,
got
sir.
look
Yes,
right
sir.
in because
Yes,
this
sir.
your message right
yes,
to the
sir.
people.
Yes, sir. So start over with
Yep.
what I
Oh, yeah,
asked you.
you can start there and we'll do that again.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Now I
Yes,
know what it is. I got you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Dow, do you remember the question I asked you when I first walked in? That you asked me. Do you remember
I
my
asked you
response?
how you was feeling,
Yes, sir.
and
my
you said
response was,
powerful.
yes, sir. And my response is powerful because I understand that life is not just happening around us, but it's responding to us. We are directly connected to a source that empowers all living things. And so, with understanding that, I realize the impact that we can have as individuals and the greater that impact that we can have as a community move within that harmony and that unison. So, developing our core values and our identity as a neighborhood, as a race of people is essential, y'all. So, follow us on Instagram, The New Era Cleveland. Myself on Instagram as chairman_Fahiem. We do a phenomenal job of documenting our interactions in the neighborhood so that we can leave those breadcrumbs for this next generation. They don't have to struggle to figure out like what steps we have to take to change our conditions. The framework is already there, it's already built out, and they just have to buy into it and commit themselves to that process. So I thank y'all for allowing me on this platform, Mr. Dow. Thank you.
How can they reach you?
So they can reach me via social media, chairman_Fahiem, or New Era Cleveland. Our phone number is 216-302-8627. Again, we are a grassroots organization. We operate off of some grant dollars, but as well as donations from the community. We have a community center, 11713 Buckeye Road. Love Project Community Clubhouse.
Excellent. That is Chairman Fahiem. He's on our program, Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell, and he gave us a lot of conversation. He's going to be dropping back in on us for other group discussions and other panel discussions as we move things on here in Cleveland. Chairman, I appreciate you coming on our show,
Thank
brother.
you, brother.
And it was a pleasure.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good job, man. Because I'm going to just ask you, like,
Yes, sir.
are we at a time where these brothers got to be really carrying guns?
Yes.
You really believe
Yes,
it?
sir. Yes, sir.
Really?
From what I've seen, Abrianna Jackson, 14-year-old girl, straight A student at home in her bed minding her business, house shot up with bullets. Hit that baby in the head and killed her in her bed. Her mother and her 11-year-old sister right next to her. 11-year-old sister sitting between mom's legs getting her hair braided. So the nature of what we're seeing is that demonic. They killed a young boy in the gas station on 152nd. They shot him like 40 times, 7 people. Cornered him in the gas station and took his life in the most horrific way. And so this is being force-fed to us on a daily basis in the music. Kids, every song they hear, they listening to is about walking somebody down and being proud. And it's an honor, it's a privilege, like it's a badge of honor to take a life. And so this is being force-fed to them.